Hi there, welcome to another exciting episode of The Pastor with No Answers. I had already finished editing this, so it was ready to go up, but my brother texted me with a very important message for all of us. So here it is, and I quote, you need to check out the brand new episode of Bad Christian Podcast. It comes out this Tuesday, and it features a special interview with Perry Noble. So check it out. It's a good one. That's the Bad Christian Podcast, which comes out this Tuesday. I also wanted to take this opportunity to address a couple of screw-ups that I made during the podcast episode. Number one, in the podcast episode, I think I said that the sun, according to the experts, has about a little bit over 1 billion years left before it burns out. It's actually, according to the experts, a little over 5 billion years. Second mistake, I attributed to James Watson the promulgation of directed panspermia, when in reality it was actually Francis Crick, the other half of the DNA duo. And then one last thing, I made a joke about Donald Trump. It was just a joke, so please lighten up if you're a Donald Trump supporter. Enjoy the podcast. We're talking with our buddy Logan Cael today, so it should be a lot of fun.
All right, well, this is the pastor.
And this is the pastor's voiceless big brother.
And this is just some dude.
Just some dude, but his name is Logan Cael, and he's not just some dude to a lot of big Logan Cael fans. And this is the pastor with no answers. So, Jared, I'm going to tell you, my friend, that you are in for a treat, man. This is kind of like your virgin Logan experience.
Actually, no, it's not. I actually heard him on the Bad Christian Podcast.
Jared, let me ask you a question. Have you ever talked to Logan before?
No.
All right, this is your virgin Logan experience.
That sounds pretty messed up, but okay.
You are losing your Logan virginity.
Wow.
Well,
is there a problem
I'll
with
just
that?
I'll just preface that real quick. I'm not nearly as assholey as I used to be.
Okay.
Oh, what happened? Did Logan get a girlfriend?
No, Daddy's just grown up.
Hey, so Jared, here's what's cool about hanging out with Logan. When Logan is around Matt and Toby and I at least have one person that I can talk to that's actually passionate about listening to music.
Wow.
It's
Awesome.
It's pretty cool. So last year, he gave me some recommendations that I'm curious what you took the bait on, because I'm sure that I talked to you about him, Jared. But did you ever buy Angel Olsen?
Yes.
How about Ty Segall?
Yes.
How about Future Islands?
No.
Is that what it's called, Logan? Future
Oh
Islands?
yeah, definitely. And you should check it out, Jared.
It's some good stuff. All right, so you guys tell me one album that everybody just has to go check out. Mine would be Neon Indian. It's called Vega International Nights, something like that. It's really good.
There was a little too many blips and bloops for me. It was
really?
too electronic for me, I think.
Oh, interesting. Jared, you checked it out, and you thought it was a little too weird, too.
Yeah, it was. I liked the album that came out before that a lot better.
Me too.
But I need to go back and revisit it, though. I think it probably is better than I think it is.
All right, what's a must-buy album, Logan?
Well, I have been listening nonstop to this new band called Adult Books.
Adult Books?
Yeah, the album's called Running from the Blows.
Gotcha.
And kind of like a 90s indie punk sound with some beachy vibe to it.
Sweet. Jared,
Comes
what
out
about
tomorrow,
you?
actually.
I would say New Bermuda by Death Heaven. Really good blend of black metal and shoegaze, post-rock. Just a gorgeous album from start to finish.
And that's their newest one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've listened to it once. It's good for sure. I got to listen to it more. All right, so let me ask y'all a question. Let me start with digital movies. All right, so recently all right, so there's all sorts of things going on iTunes to get people to buy movies. One, every week they come out with a set of movies where it's there's a week in February where they had a bunch of Valentine movies for $9.99, $7.99. Right now, if you go on iTunes, they have gangster movies, $9.99, $7.99. So they want people to purchase movies. Now, there has been times when some of my favorite movies were up for grabs for like $7.99. I'd buy one. There's also been times when there's a movie, and Jared, you'll probably be shocked that I would make this risk, but there's like a movie for, let's say, $12.99, and I want to watch it, but I'm pretty sure I'm really going to like it, so I'll just buy it instead of rent it, because it's like if I rent it for $4.99 and I really liked it, then I'm just like, I could have just paid $7 more, to just have the movie because I'm going to want to see it again. My question to you guys is, in this day and age, as technology is just blowing up, we've gone, VHS, I would say pretty much everybody had a VCR in 1990. That's probably being a little conservative. And then I would say 15 years later, everybody had a DVD player. Now here we are just 10 years later, and Blockbusters are closed, and we're watching things digitally and buying things digitally. Are our digital movie collections, first of all, worth even building? Because is there ever going to be a time where everything is just, you just go online and pay what you want to watch a movie? And secondly, is there going to be something even better that kind of washes out the value? Because bottom line, someone that stocked up on VHS movies is worthless now. Who cares? I mean, unless you're going to keep your VCRs, but then the tape is going to run out. So what do you guys think about actually paying good, hard-earned cash for digital movies?
Yeah, I do it.
Go ahead, Logan.
Yeah, I do it, absolutely. I tend not to really buy newer movies just because as I get older, I think the less frequently I'll rewatch movies.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I have both Bill and Ted's digitally.
Nice.
I have, I just watched Goonies the other day from the digital version that I bought, just all of those old classics like, Karate Kid. I own that.
Hell
digitally.
yeah. That's
but
one
I
of the
don't,
best.
I don't think that there could be a newer option because, what's the next step? Just playing it inside your head?
Yeah.
Yeah, in terms of quality, like HD is really, really good. 4K, sure, but you have to have a really, really, really big TV to maximize the benefit of 4K. So just the convenience of having your movie whenever you want it, wherever you want it, to me, is reason to buy it. So I can watch it on my Apple TV. I can watch it on my iPhone, my iPad, whatever. I love that. So to me, I'm going to buy a movie that I really like an older movie, like a Karate Kid, like the Rocky movies, to have whenever I want to see it. So,
yeah, but do you think that they will figure out a way of releasing something so much better that you're just like, ooh, I would rather have that than digital? For example, don't you think there's eventually going to be like a hologram type version of a movie to where it looks like you're in the actual arena where Daniel LaRusso is, beating Johnny? It almost feels like you're sitting there. Like, why wouldn't there be some form of media to where you're sitting in a room and every single wall is actually some version of a screen? I don't know.
That could work, but you couldn't do that to something that's already been filmed. It would have to be new movies.
Right, it's true. Not only that, too, though, you couldn't have that experience on a subway or an airplane or in a car on a trip. So the convenience of having those movies on a mobile device, to me, that's kind of going to be the way it's going to be for a long, long time. Maybe having this grandiose living room experience that could take off in a decade or so, but for convenience, you can't beat what we have, I don't think.
Huh. So let me see what you think about this. You said having something anytime you want to. Do you think it's tricky that if you're not downloading your movies, you don't necessarily own something? What if iTunes shuts down, or what if your internet shuts down? You technically can't watch any of your movies. So do you think
download them?
Just download all the movies?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. So what about music? Some people think Jared and I are crazy for buying music. Logan, you still buy music?
Absolutely.
Do you pretty much buy digitally and vinyl?
Yeah, I definitely buy records. I will typically illegally download something to see if I like it. If I don't like it, I delete it. And if I do like it, I will end up buying it one way or the other, either digitally or if it is available via vinyl. I definitely buy that record for sure.
So, Logan, what's your all-time favorite vinyl in terms of like the vinyl experience?
I'm kind of weird. I'm not one of those, like, I don't care about colored vinyl. I don't care about, I would never buy a picture disc.
No, I mean sound, the sound. Like that
sound.
Warm analog vinyl sound.
Just what my favorite record is?
Yeah. For that medium.
Boy, let's see. I mean, I grew up on David Bowie, so probably something on David Bowie. Honestly, I haven't really thought about it.
I recently picked up Black Sabbath's Paranoid.
Oh, that
sounds really, really good on vinyl, for sure.
I mean, that's something that I've just always had, though. I've never really been a CD buyer.
Okay.
So I've ever since I was little, I was into records. My parents had tons of them, and so I just kind of inherited that. So, to be perfectly honest, I don't really hear much of a difference. I guess I don't have a musician's ear or something like that. But
all right, let me ask y'all this. So, to many people, the three of us would be considered somewhat music snobs. Like, in other words, people would say, "Oh, you listen to a certain type of music." Where my response is always, "Nah, I mean, I listen to what I think is really good. I've played the new Taylor Swift a handful of times because it's good, or a lot of the rap stuff that I listen to, like ASAP Rocky. It's huge, and I listen to it. I don't not listen to it because it's huge." So let me ask y'all this. Would y'all dare admit that you don't listen to albums how you used to listen to albums? For example, Jimmy Eat World Clarity used to sit in my car for weeks at a time. I'd get in and I would just listen to it over and over and over and over. I don't do that anymore. Now, I do try to get the full feel of a CD, and I don't want to just listen to it once and then be done with it. I'll listen to it a handful of times, then revisit it, 2 months later, and then maybe 6 months later, and then maybe 2 years later. But I don't do what I used to do. Is that the same with you guys?
Yeah, I think so, just because there's so many more options. I mean, like I said, I've always bought records, and these days with albums on my phone, there's just way more options. I mean, if I'm home, I will listen to records only. But, yeah, I definitely not the same, just because I have 700 albums on my phone.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, back in the day when we were teens, we had limited budgets. Music wasn't everywhere. So we would buy 2, 3, 4 albums a month maybe and really listen to those. But now we have bigger budgets. Music is streaming. Music is free. Music is cheaper. So we're able to consume many, many more albums per month. So I think just because of that, we don't have the same kind of listening experience.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Logan, do you have any Christian albums?
Well, some of those, I do remember the first Christian album I bought, and I was really embarrassed by it. Like when I tell my friends about it or show them, in that case that was a CD, I would definitely put my thumb over the Tooth and Nail logo on the back.
What was some of the Tooth and Nail stuff that you got into?
That particular album was a band from Portland called The Deadlines that had kind of they were trying really hard to go for that like dead person misfit type.
I remember them
thing.
I didn't buy the album, but I remember because I wasn't into it was kind of goth punk sort of.
Yeah,
thing.
It was kind of goth punk. They talked about graveyards and stuff like that.
Well, speaking of, go ahead.
But I don't know. I never really paid attention, with the exception of what's on I mean, I like Julian the Theory. I mean, of course, I had the Emery stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, Zayo.
I got into Zayo a little bit later. I wasn't as into the metalcore stuff or I didn't like effects on screamers' vocals.
Right.
I liked more of a pure scream.
All right, so let me ask you this. Speaking of Christian music, would you consider yourself, for some people that are hearing you for the first time, are you agnostic, atheist, or what? Like, do you believe?
I am an atheist.
Okay, so that means that you have no reason to believe there's a God, or you think it's impossible that there's a God, or what kind of atheist? Because there's definitely different categories.
Well, I would say I'm not very serious about it. I've not given it much thought. I just don't think there is a God.
Okay.
I don't think it's impossible. I just don't believe there is.
All right, so what do you think when you hear... All right, so Jared, I don't even know if you know about this, but Israel Houghton, he is a big-time Grammy Award-winning gospel songwriter, worship writer, worship songwriter, and I'm pretty sure he was a worship leader at Joel Osteen's church. Big time. And he just came out, stepped down from his job, said that he had affairs on his wife. And my question to you, Logan, is when you see those sorts of stumbles in the public realm of the church, especially in bigger type personalities / celebrity type figures, do you have any sort of sense of satisfaction of, Christianity is bullshit, so I'm kind of justified not believing in God? Does your heart go out to that person because you're kind of thinking, man, that sucks, because I'm sure he doesn't like how life is? Do you not think about it at all? Does it not matter? Or do you not even see a difference in that happening to like a Christian musician and a non-Christian musician? Like, how do you process that?
I mean, yeah, I don't think there's a difference. I think a scumbag's a scumbag.
All right, so cheating
is a scumbag activity for sure.
Yeah. All right, so that is a very interesting point, and this is when atheists get really mad at Christians, and I'm willing to take one for the team because Logan and I are friends, and I can talk about anything with Logan. So. Mm-hmm. You would say cheating is a scumbag thing to do, and I would say if there is zero, like if we are on the same level as animals, one-cell organisms, basically no difference. You don't get pissed off at a dog, for raping a female dog, do you?
No, it's completely different.
All right, so why? Because you believe when Logan dies, you're worm food. That's it. There's no more Logan. Logan's gone. So why does it matter whether or not you're faithful to your future wife?
Because just because I don't believe in an afterlife does not mean that I'm not piece of shit. Immoral. I mean, of course I'm.
But what's immoral mean? And we can have this is what I love is we can have this conversation and laugh and smile and not get offended. But what does immoral mean?
Well, just immoral is doing things that hurt people. And of course I do that, but I don't intend to.
Right.
But obviously, I don't know, God. Obviously, it doesn't take a genius to know that cheating on somebody that you've promised to not do that is bad.
All right, so what? All right, so let's...
Joey, let me step in real quick.
Yeah.
I know a lot of atheists, they believe that we as humans are purely physical machines and we operate at a very small or very low chemical biological level, meaning we have no real free will. So really, scumbag has no meaning in such a world. So do we have free will if there's no God, there's no spirit? Aren't we just a product of our physical and chemical reactions?
So yeah, Logan, do we have free will?
I think so.
Think so. All right, so that makes sense. So let me propose this as a thought to ponder. So you said you don't want to intentionally hurt someone. Well, let's say you are married and you guys have been married for 7 years, so a lot of the fireworks that you experienced when you first met each other, they've subsided a little bit. And you know what? You're still in it for the long haul. You're committed and all that stuff, but you meet someone else that you get carried away just a little bit, and you don't do anything totally wrong, but there's obviously mutual feelings to the point where this girl wants to be with you so desperately, and deep down inside, you want to as well. You know it's wrong, though, to leave your wife and cheat with this girl. But if you don't leave your wife and cheat with this girl, you're going to devastate this girl that wants you to cheat on your wife. Well, so is that a moral dilemma?
No.
You have to hurt one of them. You have to hurt one of them hoes.
One I've made a promise to and one I haven't. And if I did decide it was over, I would man up and end it before starting another thing.
Well, Logan, I respect the fact that you define your own morality. I respect that, man.
I mean, I think it's crazy that some of the examples that you guys have used over the course, like we already kind of talked about it that one time, but like you guys won't be in the same car with a woman by yourself because you're afraid that could lead to cheating. I think that's nuts.
Right. Or were you saying
because you are a grown man and you can do what you want to do.
Right. Yeah, I can see that, but I could also see just having some sort of fixed boundary. It's kind of like the Christians would have the same point of view when it comes to trying to stay away from sex before you're married. It's like, okay, I know there's nothing wrong with making out in itself, but I should probably avoid that because if I'm making out, I'm gonna want to touch T and A, and if I'm touching T and A, then I want to put P inside of V. And
what did? Oh yeah, that's right. What did Matt classify? You were a mega virgin?
Yeah. All right, let me ask you this. This is fun, Logan. If you were married, would you try to lay off porn? Do you look at porn, correct?
I do, yeah.
If you were married, would you try to lay off of it?
Well, I can always tell if I actually like a girl more than usual by just the dip in that action anyway. Like, things are kind of starting with this new girl right now, and honestly, yeah. I haven't looked at it, in a week or more.
Wow.
Just because I can tell
that's called love, baby. That is called love.
So I think that, I believe that I would try my hardest not to.
So I want to wear a shirt that says, when I fall in love, I stop the porn.
Well, come on. I'm not.
Hey, so let me ask you this. So you would, why are you not offended? Because a lot of atheists get offended with the whole correlation that I've put together as far as, hey, if you don't believe in God and a higher standard of morality, how do you have your morality? For you, like, why you listen to, like, the Bad Christian podcast, you hear all of our Christian antics, you actually, you and I would say you and I are friends. Matt and Toby are really good friends. I mean, y'all spent, days and weeks and months together. So, like, why is it that our Christian shenanigans aren't offensive to you like they are to a lot of other people that don't believe?
Because I think that I'm looking at you more on a personal level.
Yeah.
Like I know that you would probably disagree, but your Christianity doesn't define you to me.
Okay.
Like, you're good, I like hanging out with you.
Gotcha.
Just like I like hanging out with Matt and Toby. And I don't care. I mean, if you guys were, and I guess you and I are different just because I definitely know you more through Bad Christian than outside. But, I mean, if Matt and Toby and you were constantly spouting off Christian stuff, I would probably cool it with, or like not be friends with you, but just not be as close of friends.
Yeah.
Just because people like to be around people that are like them.
Yeah.
And we have common interests other than that.
Yeah. All right. So refresh my memory. Your dad or your mom is gay, correct? Or what?
My dad.
Okay. Your dad is gay. Do you have a problem with a Christian being that homosexuality is a sin?
No, I don't.
That's so compelling to me, man.
I don't think it's wrong for you to believe that. However, I do think it's wrong for you to treat the person differently.
I just think that's incredible. Honestly, I'm not trying to swell your head, but I think that so most people, if you've been on the earth for 20 plus years or even less than that, that most Christians, and it's becoming less and less number as time goes on, but most Christians would assert, Scripture teaches that homosexuality is not in God's plan. And I have just always felt like, hey, you know what? We can disagree with that, but don't give Christians a hard time that are simply raising their hands saying, you know what, I don't like the fact that I believe this, but I'm putting all of my faith in the Bible. This is what I believe is true. But then that person is basically crucified for putting all of his chips in the Bible hat. And I just think it's pretty incredible that you would have a father that is of a gay sexual orientation and you're not offended by a Christian.
Oh, I definitely used to be. I mean, it's been more than 10 years since he came out, and I've definitely hit people for saying things, or calling other people fags and stuff like that. Back in the day, I was definitely more hot about it.
Yeah,
but I don't care. I mean, they're just words. I think I don't really understand how, because I've heard plenty of Christians say, well, I love you. I just believe that you are a sinner and going to hell. I don't really get that, because I don't believe that you love the person if you think that.
All right, so you just, I guess you did a doozy on me here. What if that's what they truly believe, though? They're not.
Well, I don't believe that you love the person. Like why do you have to say that? Why do you have to make your opinion known?
All right, so here's how I would say it. Jared, tell me what you think about this. So if a Christian truly believes that Logan is going to hell, then wouldn't it be unloving for them to say, hey, man, I really think this is where you're headed, and, man, I've gotten to know you over the years, and I just really love you, and it seems like it would be pretty shitty on my part not to tell you because I truly believe this is the case. Now, why is that unloving?
Did we lose Jared?
Jared, can you hear me?
I thought this was for Logan.
Yeah, it kind of was, but
I'm sorry. I thought you said Jared.
I threw y'all off because I did say, Jared, what do you think about this? But, Jared, would you say that's a pretty good example or question to ask?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, because your convictions are rooted in your faith, and you still love that person, but you can't separate your love for that person with your faith-rooted convictions. So, it's coming from the same heart. I love you, Logan, but I think you're going to go to hell because you're not a Christian. It's coming from the same place. So to separate that would be kind of being inconsistent, number one, and also disingenuous. I think that's what Joey's trying to say.
Sure. I mean, there are plenty of people that I disagree with, but I don't have to constantly tell them I disagree with them.
No, I agree with that. Yeah. I hear what you're saying. So I think what you're saying is it's one thing for a Christian to believe that. It's another for them to constantly voice that. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Gotcha. That makes sense.
I mean, respect my belief just like I respect yours, right?
Sure.
True that. All right, so let me ask you guys this. What do y'all think about the possibility of a Donald Trump, what is it now, the 46th president of the United States, 44th? Do y'all even know?
I don't care.
I need to look that up now because I think it's either 45th or 46th, I think.
Yeah, I want to say Reagan was 40, if I had to guess. So Bush 41, then Clinton 42, 43. Yeah. So, yeah, I think this is 45. What do y'all, Logan, are you conservative, liberal? Do you not care about politics?
I am, I guess you could say, more a conservative liberal. I'm pretty middle as far as that goes, I think. But no, I'm not too serious about it. I think that I think it's a complete shit show.
What do y'all think? What do y'all think would happen as a Trump presidency?
I think the hostility towards America would skyrocket.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Just because of his
rhetoric is ridiculous.
Did you guys happen to see that John Oliver thing about Trump on last week tonight?
No.
It was. I mean, John Oliver just destroyed him. And I'm just by mentioning facts. And I would say to both of you, it's definitely worth watching because he just talks about everything he's done. And it's pretty compelling. There's no way. I mean, he's a bully. If somebody, like someone called him a small-fingered, basically mentioned his small fingers, and it was a Vanity Fair article, and 5-6 years later, he's still writing nasty letters to the author, talking about how his hands are normal size.
Right.
He's just so petty.
So you take that mentality, and back it up with the world's most powerful military.
Yeah.
That's scary, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of think if Trump becomes the president, he won't admit this, but I think half of him will be like, oh my gosh, I'm actually the president. I can't believe this really worked. And then the second, and there'll be an element of excitement. He's like, oh, I'm going to go down in history as a president of the United States. I think the other half of him is like, holy crap, I don't know what to do. But do you think he's so haughty and full of himself that he's just like, no, I'll be great?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so.
Absolutely. Of course he is.
Do you think we immediately get into additional war situations and escalate violence around the country?
That's where we pray for checks and balances to kick in.
Right.
I mean, I think that most people that are in the center, politically, they will keep him in check. At least I hope so. But I don't know for sure.
I mean,
it's a scary proposition.
Am I crazy to say that basically him getting into the presidency, there would be a lot of the legislative branch on both sides opposing him?
I think so.
Yeah. Definitely.
So
almost every major Republican group has come out against him.
All right, so major Republican folks, groups, Logan Cael, Jared Svensson, Joey Svensson, my close core group of friends. The list goes on and on. Why are we worried that he's going to get voted in? Who are all these Trump supporters? I mean, seriously.
Hillbillies.
Yeah, there's not
racist
that many hillbillies.
There are tons of hillbillies.
No,
and when I say hillbilly, I mean small town person. And just like redneck, just that crowd loves him for some reason. And it's because of things like he tells it like it is. Even if they don't necessarily agree with what he says, he tells it like it is.
And I do get that sentiment because all too often politicians are so slick in their rhetoric. So I do get that appreciation for his being so cavalier. It's just the stuff that he's saying I think is really scary. So,
do you think Trump would initiate the beginning of the end of humanity through like really crazy
apocalypse now, maybe?
I don't know. I think that all of the major Republican candidates are a little too out there. I wouldn't necessarily. I don't align myself with Democrat, but I definitely tend to vote more Democrat. And it seems like every major Republican nominee seems kind of bonkers. I mean, Ted Cruz makes my skin crawl.
Huh.
See, I kind of like Marco Rubio. I thought he was a decent candidate.
Yeah, he's a little too defensive, though, man, for sure. I think he shot himself in the foot by just being a little overly sensitive, and didn't he lose his cool the other night?
Yeah, I did enjoy what Trump said about him, though. Pointed out how sweaty he was.
Well, Logan, having you on brings up an interesting opportunity. You listen to the Bad Christian podcast somewhat regularly, and so you've heard the heckling that I've gotten with conspiracy theories and aliens and Nephilim and all that stuff.
I have.
Yeah. So basically, I remember, for those of you that do not know this, Logan Cael, I think you're the number 2 Bad Christian podcast of all time in order. I think it was the second or third, but I think it was the second one.
Number 2.
Number 2. So I remember in that episode you said that you believe that we got here by ancient aliens that basically dropped humanity off or planted a seed or whatever you want to call it, and then see you later, I'm out of here. And so now we're basically here to fend for ourselves. Is that what you really believe?
I don't think I ever said that.
Yes, you did.
I said that was if I said that, I said that was a possibility, but no, I don't. I believe that we came from the water. I believe in evolution. Whatever started it, but I don't know.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I thought we were going to find some.
Well, that notion called panspermia is actually becoming more and more prevalent. Even one of the co-founders of DNA, Watson, he actually promulgated that idea, panspermia.
Did you say
So-
panspermia?
Panspermia.
Sperm.
Okay. Like sperm in a pan?
Pan meaning like a cross.
Oh, okay.
Galaxy.
Gotcha. Well, I'm kind of bummed then. I thought we had some common ground of alien and Nephilim
No.
type stuff.
I'm sorry to burst your bubble, Joey. I am not a conspiracy theorist.
Hey, Logan, how do you think all right, so Jared and I have our, I would say, pretty much Christian worldview, and so we would think somewhat similarly with how this world is going to end. For someone that does not believe in God or have a biblical lens, how do you believe, or do you believe there will, at some point in in life existence, will there ever not be human life anymore?
Yeah, I think so.
And
I think, wait, in life's existence. So, like, no human life, but possibly animals, is what you're saying?
or maybe just all life is gone.
Yeah, absolutely.
And do you like nuclear war, or how do you think that's going to happen?
No, I don't. I think just the whole mutually assured destruction thing will prevent that from happening. But I think that we are currently emptying the inside of the earth.
Yeah.
And so either that will, once everything is gone, that will do something, or just the sun will go out and then life will cease to exist eventually after the sun goes out.
When is the sun supposed to go out? Do y'all know that scientifically? Like what? How old is the sun, and how long do stars usually last?
I don't know for certain, but I just know that it's not for a very long time.
Jared, do you know how long stars last typically?
It depends on how big the star is. But I think I've read somewhere where they postulate that the sun has another billion or so years to go.
Oh my god!
At least. So.
And arguably, the sun could go out without us knowing, right?
For 8 minutes.
For 8 minutes?
Yeah, we'd know 8 minutes later.
Wow, that's so crazy. But now so why is it that other stars exist way longer? Because they're further away?
No.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I'm saying that I've always been told that there's some stars that we see in the sky night after night after night that have actually gone out. Is that
because they're so much farther away?
Yeah. Okay.
It takes light a finite amount of time to get to your eyeballs.
Gotcha.
Right. So
Logan, when do you think? Like, if you had to guess, if somebody had a gun pointed to your head and they said, "Hey, give me your best possible guess for when the last human will die," are you thinking hundreds, thousands, millions? How many years are we thinking here?
Yeah, I'm gonna say millions.
All right, so between now and millions,
maybe like hundreds of millions.
All right, so between now and hundreds of millions of years from now, like what? How do you see this world a million years from now? Do you think everybody creates whatever kind of baby they want to have? People are living to be 500 or 600 years old because they can, do stuff to their body. Do you think people have figured out some sort of immortality? Obviously, not perfectly. If you think it's going to come to an end, but these are the sorts of things that me, and I'm not speaking for all Christians because a lot of Christians are just like, Joey, you're stupid. But for me, I would say a lot of this genetic engineering and playing around with, humanity and creating and all that sort of thing, that poses some issues where I think God seems
for sure.
like he would step in.
Yeah, I would say it definitely poses issues. I think that, I mean, did you see the movie Elysium,
Yes. That
starring
was
America's
great.
Sweetheart Matt Damon?
Yes.
I mean,
would you have sex with him?
no.
But you kind of did think about it.
Well, I was actually just talking to a group of friends about this, and we were talking about who we'd go gay for. And I think for me, it turned out it would be Channing Tatum.
Oh, wow.
That guy has moves.
I think for me, it would be Mickey on Rocky movies. But, all right, go ahead.
Fetish, anybody?
All right, so no, seriously, like, so you say that, what? So do you think the picture that I just painted, I mean, people are saying right now that they've already cloned an animal. I mean, so animals have been cloned.
Yeah, you could do that, but yeah, the world would be so overpopulated, then something would go catastrophically wrong.
Dude, they're making chimeras of humans and animals now. They are. So if you give the Earth another 1,000 years, there will be no longer a pure Homo sapien. We're going to be so genetically re-engineered to be some new super species. I would say within a couple 100 years.
What's a chimera?
A hybrid of human and animal DNA. They're making embryos of that. That's already been published, and that's just what they're telling us. What about the military top secret stuff going on? We have no idea the level of technology that's out there doing these kinds of weird Dr. Frankenstein type hybridizations.
So you're saying that there's a possibility of there being like a half human, half a lion right now, and they release like 100 of them on different soldiers, and they're all screwed?
I know they're doing genetic manipulation at the embryo level with those kinds of things, and a lot of people are speculating that the new arms race is developing re-engineered soldiers that have genetically modified DNA that incorporates sonar from bats, as an example. I mean, I don't know, but different animal type, natural abilities that would enhance the human genome, and that's being developed now. A lot of people speculate.
So yeah, Logan. So I mean, hundreds of millions of years. So where do you find us? Like I'm saying, like what sort of world do you conceptualize? I mean, wouldn't you say then that we're all getting super? Like, have you seen the movie Idiocracy?
Yes.
All right. So wouldn't you say that's a funny thought to ponder and even have a lot of credibility? Oh, you think
I agree there?
You do think we're going to get stupider and stupider, and not smarter and smarter?
Yes.
Dude, Trump is winning the Republican nomination.
Yeah, but
we're at the idiocracy stage now.
That's because we're so sick and tired of typical political bullshit. I don't think that's because human civilization as a whole is getting dumber. If anything, we're getting smarter because we are able to manipulate genes and stuff.
I think technically everyone's getting smarter. However, people are more and more oblivious of their surroundings and their effect on other people.
And apathetic, too.
And, yeah, absolutely, apathetic. I mean, on a smaller level, I work at a hotel, and, I mean, I see person after person parking, even though our hotel zone is empty, in the towaway zone or the commercial loading zone on either side of the hotel. And when you give them a friendly reminder, or just like, hey, just so you know, you're parked illegally, people freak out. And then they get a ticket, and then they get pissed off at the ticket, even though they know that they parked illegally, like 1 foot away from the no parking sign. Like, that is completely oblivious, and people just don't think their actions will affect other people or themselves.
It is a sense of entitlement. They're entitled to do whatever they want to do, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Or just the whole texting and driving thing, or just anything. I mean, the dumb lady on that video, the security footage video, who was texting and walked into the wishing well at the mall and then sued the mall because she felt like the security people didn't do enough to stop her.
Jeez.
I mean, it's insane.
Right.
Just this kind of stuff over and over, more of this all the time.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy.
People technically are getting smarter. I believe that is called the Flynn effect. Like everyone from now versus everyone from the 30s, we're like 10 IQ points on average smarter than the people from the 1930s. But it's just people are less aware or just frankly don't care.
I think too, though, it depends on what you're measuring, because I find younger people that I don't know, it just feels like there's a lack of critical thinking. It seems like we're losing that. So yeah, while there are people in our society who are brilliant, I think the masses, they just don't have that critical thinking component. I think our education is getting more and more watered down. So I don't know if I see that necessarily. Maybe the IQ points are higher, but what exactly are we measuring with the IQ? So I don't know. I think we're seeing two different things. One thing is we're having this super elite group of smart scientists. Then we have the masses who just don't care. They have no critical thinking. They have no sense of history. And I think we're seeing both of those. So
yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, I would say that we're going to become more of a cross between Idiocracy and Wall-E.
Yeah, I think Wall-E is definitely it.
Wall-E's on the way.
Yep.
I mean, no one can just stand there and not do anything anymore. You know, everyone's on their phones or, tablets or something, waiting for something.
Oh, dude, if you go to the bathroom and it's about to come out and you realize you don't have your phone, I mean, you will put your butt cheeks together, get up, and go get your daggone phone. All three of us would do that. We'd be like, oh, crap, I can't sit here without my phone. Hey,
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that, but I will say I was going to have some dinner with some friends, and they lived an hour away.
Yeah.
And I was about 50 minutes into the drive and realized I forgot my phone at home, I would turn back.
50?
Yes.
So you're 10 minutes away, and you would drive back?
I probably would, yeah.
Good.
Just for the drive back.
Yeah. Interesting.
I need it.
You need it. All right, so I did want to bring up, before we let you guys go, or before we let you go, Logan, I wanted to bring up the movie Room. And Logan, you came well prepared. You watched the movie Room today.
Yeah, I've been meaning to watch it anyway. Well, initially I wasn't going to watch it because I just assumed it was a chick flick, which I know that sounds terrible, but it's like, oh, a mom and her kid, big deal.
Right.
But then a couple of my buddies were like, no, seriously, man, it's good. And so it's like, okay, I'll watch it. And then you mentioned that you kind of wanted to talk about it. So I was like, yeah, okay, I'll watch it. So yeah, I watched it this morning.
Were you blown away?
No.
No?
No.
Oh my gosh, I just thought it was so freaking good. So good. But this is what I wanted to ask.
It was good. I mean, it was fine. I didn't dislike it, but I didn't love it.
Yeah. So let me ask y'all this. Jared, if you don't know, I think you do, but the premise is you've heard all these stories of like females being kidnapped and locked into a shed and basically in captivity for years on end. And then there was that case in California where I think the kidnapper impregnated a girl like 2 or 3 times, and so she's taking care of kids that, are half her rapists, kidnappers, and all that sort of thing. So anyway, this movie starts with a woman in captivity with her son that was basically, impregnated to her by her kidnapper. And then I won't give anything away for the rest of the movie. But my question to you guys is, there's a balance between being a little overzealous with always thinking danger and always thinking bad and just always worrying and stuff. But do you think we, as human citizens, we should just suck it up and be like, you know what, it sucks, but we need to be a little more vigilant and a little more sensitive to suspicious activity? For example, I remember when that situation came out on the news in California about a female that was abducted, and I think she had like 2 or 3 kids to this person. And I remember jogging and hearing kids screaming while I was jogging. Well, obviously, my natural thought about the screaming is it's kids playing, or maybe it's a kid having a fit. But I could not shake the fact of, well, what if this is one of those situations to where I'm, person minding my own business, walking by, hearing screaming, and all I'd have to do is turn around and check into it a bit and see for myself to make sure everything's okay. So I do remember, kind of scoping the situation out and, seeing that everything was okay. It was a kid having a fit. But don't you think as human citizens with these sorts of things happening, semi-frequently, that we should take those sorts of extra steps?
Yeah, of course.
Jared, have you ever been in that sort of situation?
I have not been, but I mean, I think when you see more and more movies like that, it does make you pause when you kind of are out and about, and you're hearing weird, suspect type things going on. I, for one, will definitely pay more attention. I just haven't been in those positions, in those situations.
So listen to this. I'm in Target with Gwenny, and this is when she was probably 2 years old or younger. So she's at the age where fit throwing is somewhat of a normal thing, and screaming and, limited vocabulary and that sort of thing. So she basically was doing something that Priscilla and I kept telling her not to. And so finally, I was just like, well, I've had enough. There has to be consequences for her actions. So I immediately picked her up and I started walking outside. And for those of you that don't believe in corporal punishment, I'm sorry, but I was taking her to the van to give her a spanking. Anyway, on the way out of Target, what is she screaming? I want my mommy. I want my mommy. I want my mommy. Not one person stopped me. Not one person said, hey, excuse me, sir, is everything okay here? Do you mind if we just, keep you here for a second so we can actually find this little girl's mommy? Now, I know you guys may want to call BS on me here, but I promise you, if anything, I would have been encouraged by that. I'd be like, I am her dad, but, man, I actually am glad that you're taking this extra step. Bottom line is, I could have been a kidnap that just picked her up and said, I'm out of here. Nobody's going to believe that I'm kidnapping this girl in broad daylight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
Is that just that civilization is way too trusting? Or
not way too trusting. I think that society as a whole has gotten so meek. People don't want to rock the boat.
Yeah.
And also, there's that obliviousness that Logan's talked about, the apathy that Logan's talking about. I mean, all that plays into it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely disturbing because I was like, oh my gosh, I love this girl so much, and what if I was a kidnapper and she was doing all she needed to know? So this will sound silly to you guys, but around that time when we realized and recognized just how crazy that was, we started teaching our girls I think to shout, I think for a while, now they just know what to do. Just scream and say, help me, this is not my mom or dad or something like that. But I want to say when they were little kids, we taught them how to scream, please don't touch me there, and say that over and over and over. All right, so this guy in the movie kidnapped this woman and was not nice to her. Logan, if you could kidnap any actress and be nice to her all the time, but keep her in your possession, who would it be?
I read that question before I watched the movie, and then after I watched the movie, my first thought was, I can't believe after seeing this movie, Joey would come up with this question.
Oh, I believe it. I definitely believe it.
The answer to your question is, I would not kidnap somebody, no matter how nice I was.
No matter how nice you were.
No matter how nice I was to the person, I would not forcibly take somebody against their will and keep them in my house.
Well, I'm glad that you wouldn't do that, but I'm a little displeased that you wouldn't just help me with imagination. Jared would.
How about you, pervert?
Jared would kidnap Meryl Streep because you still think she's hot, don't you?
I don't.
Yeah, you do.
No. I said circa Kramer versus Kramer and Deer Hunter. She was a fine-looking woman.
No,
that was 40 years ago.
No, you.
Hey, who's still hot though? Susan Sarandon is still hot, and she's old.
Yeah, I can see that.
You know who I think is I think could fall into the hot category is, I think her name's Julianne Moore. Julianne Moore.
Oh yeah, she's not as old as Susan Sarandon and Meryl. She's just in her 40s, isn't she?
No, Jared watched The River Wild and was just like, Meryl Streep, oh my gosh. and then Jared watched what's that August movie, Osaka August with Julia Roberts.
Yeah.
You were like, oh, Meryl Streep.
That did not happen.
I agree with you though, man. Her and her younger age. All right, so I'm gonna make a grand proclamation here, and I don't know who I would say as far as an actor is concerned, but I do think Meryl Streep is the best actress of all time. I've seen her in enough movies to be like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe how good of an actress that she is. Would you guys say that that's at least in a good ballpark, like she belongs there in that conversation?
I definitely do.
I mean, did you see her in August? I think it's called Osage County? I don't know how to say that.
Yeah. No, I saw her.
Oh
I didn't
my
see it.
gosh, that movie
It was
is
really
so
good.
All right,
I don't really watch. I'm kind of ageist anyway.
yeah.
Like, I don't care about old people, or like or old. Like, yeah, I just don't care about what's going on with them. So yeah, no, I don't really watch movies if most of the people in it are old people.
Screw the elderly.
Yeah. All right, so who do y'all think could possibly be some of the best actors of all time? Would y'all say De Niro falls in there?
De Niro is my personal favorite, but I think Tom Hanks might be a better actor.
Oh, I have a no Tom Hanks rule.
You have a no Tom Hanks rule?
Yeah, I can't stand him.
Really?
Wow.
I like some of his older movies, like Big or Joe versus the Volcano or Splash, but no, basically from Forrest Gump on, I won't see any of his movies.
Castaway was brilliant.
I haven't seen Castaway. I don't want to. I thought Forrest Gump sucked. I thought Saving Private Ryan was his. I hate him. I like his son better than him. And
His son was good at Dexter.
I'm not talking about the actor. I'm talking about the wannabe rapper.
Oh, wow.
Well, everybody knows Keanu Reeves is like the best actor of all time. I mean,
You know what? I actually was listening to a podcast where they were saying that he's been so successful because of kind of what we were talking about, how people are just becoming so... Well, this podcast was about people being so vain, and narcissism is basically the national medical disorder right now, or not mental disorder. And the reason why Keanu Reeves has been able to have such a long career is because he doesn't really emote, and so it gives people more of a fantasy of they could do what he does.
Wow,
that's interesting.
That's interesting for sure.
And I love Keanu Reeves.
Oh, I don't like Tom Hanks, but I love Keanu Reeves.
Absolutely. Bill and Ted, man.
One guy I really like is Christoph Waltz. He was in Glorious Bastards, and he was in Django Unchained. I mean, I've only seen him in those two roles, so I can't say I'm a huge fan, but I think he killed those roles. I mean, he's just an amazing actor.
Yeah.
I'm also a huge Samuel L. Jackson fan.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how versatile he is or critically acclaimed he is, but I think he pulls off his roles well. And Kurt Russell. I think he has a lot of longevity.
Yeah, Kurt Russell's good.
Yeah.
I think as a newer one, I've been a big fan of Tom Hardy's stuff these days.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
Jared, as far as versatility with Samuel L. Jackson, I know some people right off would disagree with this, but in The Negotiator, I think you see a side of Samuel L. Jackson as far as like the relationship and love that he has for his wife, and just how deeply moved he is to think of, going to jail without her and everything.
Yeah.
I definitely think that was a side of him that you don't see in typical movies. Jared, have you seen the Tom Hanks movie? Speaking of Tom Hanks, Captain Phillips.
Yeah, I loved it.
Oh,
it was great.
Gosh, that was such a good movie. It was so moving when he was finally in a safe place, and the nurses were checking his vitals, and he was just started crying because he was abducted. But
Logan will never know that.
Logan will never know.
He'll never know that.
I saw the news story. That's good enough. I don't really like watching movies of, like, I didn't care for the NWA movie just because I was familiar enough with the whole situation that I don't want to see a dramatic portrayal of it. People keep telling me that O.J. Simpson TV show is awesome. Don't care. I have no interest in it. I heard about it way too much already. I Joey just yawned so big.
Wrap it up.
I just don't really care about true life or movies based on true events that I'm already familiar with.
So Titanic, Apollo 13, Miracle.
I didn't like any of those movies. I mean, I liked Apollo 13. Okay, I guess.
Oh, I think
No,
dude,
I didn't.
come on,
Tom
man.
Hanks.
Titanic. I'm sorry. You're just kind of stupid if you don't think that's a good movie.
I don't think it's a good movie.
Just
Are you
from a
kidding?
visual
I don't either.
Gosh, you guys are nuts. All right, so Logan, best Emery lead singer of all time, and we'll wrap it up there.
You know what? I was giving this a little bit of thought, and while I think Devin is technically a better singer,
Oh, snap.
I think that Toby, in all honesty, is one of my actual favorite singers.
Wow.
Like, I just like how dramatic his voice is. I think that I like Meatloaf. I like Sebastian Bach, but Toby's probably top 5.
Have you ever listened to an Emery song facing the mirror, mouthing the words, pretending like you're Toby Morrell from Emery?
No, I have not. That's ridiculous.
Well, that certainly was a riot, wasn't it? It sure was a riot. Thank you guys for listening and joining us in this riot. Go and riot some more, man. Continue the riot. And go on pastorwithnoanswers.com. We'd love to hear from you. And by the way, this music that you hear in the background as we speak is created by the one and only Dan Koch. And you can hire him to make your music at dankoch.net. And that's Koch, dankoch.net. See you guys next week.